Hello everyone, my name is Patricia Meredith and I am the author of the Spokane Clock Tower Mysteries. Today it is my pride and joy to share with you a reading from Cupboards All Bared, Book 2 in the Spokane Clock Tower Mysteries, now available in stores everywhere in whatever format you prefer. Print, ebook, audiobook, it's available in all. You can also pick up the first book in the series, Butcher, Baker, Candlestick Taker, which I highly recommend that you read before reading Cupboards All Bared. So let's dive in. Bernard leaned back at his desk with his hands folded beneath his chin. He tried not to look at the letter from the governor, but his eyes kept flicking to it. Finally, he threw open a drawer, tossed the letter in, and slammed the drawer closed again. What did he care what Thomas thought? He was acting just like when they were younger and their father had complimented Bernard on his memorization of the entirety of Hamlet's to be or not to be speech. Thomas had been upset because he'd helped Bernard memorize it, had offered him ways of remembering which line was next by acting out the lines in a sort of sign language. Yet when Bernard tried to tell their father this, he had merely smiled toward Thomas, and then continued in his congratulations to Bernard, since he was the one who'd performed it so eloquently. Was it really Bernard's fault Thomas wasn't getting any credit? Perhaps he could say more when the interviews came, but he felt he did try. The papers just weren't interested, really, in the solving of the crime. For now, they wanted to know all the juicy details about the baker, since Chief Witherspoon wasn't letting anyone speak to her outside of the Carews as yet. Bernard wasn't sure if this was a decision of protection or promotion, as by hiding her away he was creating a great hubbub of interest, which would undoubtedly be good publicity for the police department as they fought the politics of possible cutbacks. Detective Carew? Bernard looked up to see Sergeant Hallway's mustache headed his way, for it was impossible not to notice the immense thing on his face before realizing there was a small, thin man behind it. The facial hair demanded Bernard's focus before Hallway stepped aside with a wave of his hand. "This man would like to speak with a detective," was all Hallway said, by way of introduction, as a hobo plopped into a chair beside Bernard's desk, and Hallway disappeared back to his place as the gatekeeper of the station. It was like the man had been soaking in gin in the bottom of an oil can packed with horse manure. Bernard politely breathed through his mouth as he pulled out a piece of paper and his fountain pen. "How may I help you?" he asked, turning to the hobo, his red-rimmed eyes studying Bernard's feet warily, as though he found something familiar in the dirt on their soles. He sniffled and brought his fingertip up toward his nose, but that was all Bernard saw, for he averted his eyes to study his pen for a minute before returning his gaze. The hobo's eyes were red and watery, and his large Roman nose hovered above a mouth full of blackened and yellowed smoker's teeth, the lines around his mouth and chin caked in dirt. Had the man been eating out of the sewer as well as living in it? Bernard cleared his throat and tried again, louder this time. "Sergeant Hallway said you wanted to speak to a detective?" It was difficult to guess the man's age under all that filth and rags, but he might have been a soldier once upon a time. Maybe he'd returned from the Spanish-American War without all he'd left with. It had happened to many. The hobo looked at Bernard's elbow and then back at his feet. Bernard began to wonder if the man had lied. Maybe he'd just wanted a place to sit down for a few moments in a real chair. He paused, as though searching for his voice. The hobo rubbed his hands together. The fingernails bit to the quick and caked with grime, which probably explained how the dirt had gotten on his mouth, too. Bernard was not a patient man, but he took a deep breath and tapped his pen to signify he was ready to take the man's statement, no matter what it ended up being. Finally, the hobo started again, and this time slurred out 7 words. "I saw a body in Hangman Creek." Thank you for joining me for this reading from Cupboards All Bared, which is now available in all formats, ebook, audiobook, and print. Again, be sure to pick up a copy of Butcher, Baker, Candlestick Taker, Book 1 in the Spokane Clock Tower Mysteries before diving into Book 2. You'll be thankful that you did. Thank you again for joining me. I hope that you'll join me again for another reading soon. Thanks.